Zoom. Shing. G'day guys, Tours20 here, and welcome to what is, I guess, a new era for my channel. So before we get started, let me just give you a little bit of context. If you haven't noticed already, I'm a bit of a stickler for detail, and it's not just in Cities Skylines where I have this. And I guess that's probably why I like cities. It's like a massive concentration of all these things bundled in together. And if I ever do feel inspired when exploring a city or a town or somewhere, then I will take photos or I'll draw a picture there on the spot, or even finish the picture at home based off these pictures. Whereas in Cities Skylines, I rely heavily on Google Earth. And as much as I love Google Earth, it can be a bit grainy at times, and when trying to get those real fine details, you just can't see them. So that's where the drone idea came from. It meant that I can actually visit a place, get inspired, chuck the drone up in the air, get some footage, go home, build in Cities Skylines. So before forking out the money for a drone, I figured I'd get in touch with my brother, who's a bit of a drone connoisseur, and figure out whether or not a drone would be a good investment for me. So yeah, that's it, that's the context. And in case you're wondering, I do end up buying one. I totally couldn't help myself, so stay tuned for some pretty new content from me very shortly. But for now, enjoy the flights and we'll get to a build very shortly. So getting into today's build, and you might notice that I'm pretty much just focusing on one area of the drone footage, and I'm doing that on purpose. I mean, today's episode is not a big episode, it's not even really an episode, it's just a bit of a trial to see whether I can achieve a detailed look from drone footage, and I feel like I can. Like, it worked really nicely, gave me lots of information, and I do still plan to use Google Earth. This particular flight was taken on the northern beaches of Sydney, so probably about 45 minutes from the CBD of Sydney. I grew up around this area, unfortunately not in this particular area, unfortunately not on this particular house style, but I definitely grew up in this sort of area, and it's a really, really nice area in terms of getting lots of bushing, getting lots of forest and beaches and rivers. It's a really, really nice area, and definitely being so close to the city as well is something that's really, really cool. I now live in the city, so I don't live in this area anymore, but my brother is still out sort of in this direction. By the way, a big thanks to my brother for letting me fly his drones, or flying the drones for me. He's an insane flyer, and if you want to go and check out his other flights, go and check out his YouTube channel. I've left the link in the description below. And in case you missed it, I did end up buying a drone, and I've taken tons of footage with it already. So definitely stay tuned for some more drone footage. But anyway, the build. So the reason why I'm taking just a little snippet from the footage is because I just wanted to get a bit of an idea of how this would work. Using Google Earth and using the drone footage, I can get a really detailed understanding of where everything is placed, the little bits of detail that I might miss, like canoes on the water side, or even the types of reeds that grow in this area, or the trees, or even the style or the level of the houses. So it's really cool to have this tool now to actually be able to achieve that. A reason why I've also taken this one style of build is because it's really unique, and I didn't even really think about building something like this in Cities Skylines until I flew past it with the drone and was like, oh, I know this style of house and it's really interesting, and there's some elements that I really love about it, and I'm was actually just filled with inspiration as soon as I saw that little clip. So, I mean, that filled me with an idea of what I wanted to achieve, and also gave me a bit of an idea of how it looks, because I wanted to get it pretty close. And you might actually also notice that I don't follow it exactly. It's a bit of my own take on this place. No house that I've copied, but I've taken little elements from it, like the pools that I'm placing down, or the stairways that creep down, or the different water vehicles that are around that area as well. Or even like these brick walls that divide the houses, that don't actually totally divide the houses like a fence would, but still show where one person's property is as opposed to another. So, that sort of thing is kind of interesting. So yeah, that's basically it. I was sort of pulling inspiration from lots of different areas from the drone footage, and also just using Google Earth as a bit of an idea of where these sort of places are sort of structured, and how they're structured, and also where the roads are in terms of the rest of the city, because that sort of part of it also is very intriguing. So if you're wondering when and where I'm going to be using the drone, it's mostly going to be used for my Australian series, Cities Skylines Down Under. I'm actually going to be taking on another kind of like element to that series, where I'll be doing another map that's based on the east coast of Australia. I'm taking on that because Cities Skylines Down Under was never planned just to be my Broken Hill series. I also wanted it to be the other sort of side of Australia, which is what I reckon is like the coastline. Seeing as I know so much about the eastern side of Australia, living around this area, and doing quite a lot of travel around this spot, I decided to focus my next series about that. So that sort of series will probably not be as frequent as Springwood, so don't worry if you're a Springwood fan, you're just going, damn it. Don't worry, I'm still going to be doing lots of Springwood. I plan to kind of do each series when I feel the inspiration, feel the need to, and that's probably when the drone footage will be coming up the most. But mind you, there are still things that I'm noticing in Australia, in Sydney, that would still relate to Springwood. For instance, some of the suburbs are quite similar, as you probably noticed in the drone footage before. So, it'll probably be doing a bit of an overlap, and I'm sure I'll be finding ways and reasons to do more drone footage for Springwood. So yeah, you can look forward to a new series from me pretty shortly. It'll just be just around the corner, and it'll be quite easy to build as well, because I do know so much about this general area of Australia. So super excited for that. And this particular build was built on the map for that series. I'm not going to call this episode 1 or anything like that. This is purely just a trial and error to see if it's worthwhile. I will keep this build though. Like, I do really like what I build here, and it fits in really nicely with this whole series that I'm going to be doing for Cities Skylines Down Under. So, you will still see this build within the new series. However, it's just a bit of a trial. But yeah, I mean, let me know in the comments below if you're keen for that. I'm certainly really excited for it. I mean, you just got to chase the inspiration that you have, rather than going for, trying to complete each series. I mean, if you're wondering, I mean, I've spoken about this heaps, but like, Springwood is a series that I don't ever plan to really finish until people are totally over it, or whether there's nothing left to build. But Springwood will always be something that I'll be always working on. It's just one of those series. And also, besides the fact that Broken Hill and my new map for Cities Skylines Down Under, even though they're based in Australia, they are still connected in some other way. So, I mean, stay tuned for that. More information on how they're connected. I mean, come up with your own theories. You might be correct. I'm really, really excited to announce the new one. I might just leave it there, because otherwise I'll give spoilers out and not fulfill them. So I'm just gonna drop it there. But yeah, again, drone footage. Really, really excited to be doing it. It's something that I've been wanting to do for a really long time, and really happy to finally put it into action with this build. Another really exciting thing about the drone is that I will be able to do some more on-spot talks, or even bits of inspiration for what I'm seeing on location. So for instance, if I go to a place like I've gone to Bayview, I've gone to this location and then chucked the drone up, it means then you can actually get a bit more of a feel of where I am and what has driven me to what I am building. And then also everything that I build is always different to what I've sourced, the inspiration that I've sourced. So, you know, I think it might be interesting for you to see, not just from Google Earth footage, but also from location footage from the drone and from like some sort of vlogging element where I can kind of talk about why this spot is so interesting and why I've chosen it and how I decide to end up replicating it in this game, which is also I think pretty cool. It's something that I've been really wanting to do for ages. I've been trying to do with Google Earth. It's tricky to do it when it's in LA, and I don't really know LA like I know Sydney, but you know, it's something that I've always been trying to do a bit in my builds. In this new series, it means that I'll actually be able to do that and go to places that I find really interesting and talk about it, and then fly around there and then get to a build. I mean, that's another side of this drone footage that I am also really excited about. Not to mention that it also looks really awesome. I'm still figuring out how to fly the damn thing. I'm not that fantastic at it. You might probably notice the evolution of my flies. They'll slowly get better and better. But I do quite a lot of flying over the last few weeks. Actually, I just did a trip and I've just taken heaps of footage that I'm kind of compiling into lots of different episodes. I'm quite far ahead, by the way. I'm really far ahead in terms of Springwood and this new series that I've done. I want to keep it that way. I'm trying to get a bit far ahead so I've got a little bit of flexibility between my uploads. So yeah, I already know what's to come. I'm already really excited about what's to come. This what I'm doing on screen is something really exciting. I really enjoyed this little spot here, and it's basically this little, not a little, it's a damn big mansion that sits on the waterfront here, and I have taken a bit of the inspiration from that footage. I didn't see it very much, but I saw it out of the corner of my eye, and I thought that it might be a cool little spot to include in this build right here. As you can see, I'm adding in a whole bunch of things that didn't exist. I mean, it's just the nature of the thing where you kind of get an idea of what you see and what you want to build from the footage, and then you can kind of go on your own tangent, which is basically this pool over here I thought would be a pretty cool addition. So yeah, I mean, I am just placing this down and just adding bits and pieces that I think are cool from the footage, and then things that just pop up when I scroll past them using the search mod. This whole area is actually a massive mix between super wealthy mansions and these small little cottages you'll see me place on the left-hand side of this building pretty shortly. And that's because like this area, Bayview, was pretty much, you know, it's just like a little surfy town when, you know, probably not that long ago, maybe 30 years ago, and as time's progressed, as the city expanded, as Sydney's kind of gotten bigger, these places have become hot property and places on the water that weren't quite as nice once upon a time, and now just absolute best places in the world. So people are like really building big and buying up in this sort of area, which means that there are still a lot of older residents who have these old style houses, which you can see over there. I wanted to include a bit of that look, you know, this sort of old shantytown, rusty boat shed sort of elements that I think are really cool, and really cool little contrast that I probably wouldn't notice from looking just at Google Earth, but because growing up in a similar area, I kind of know the history behind this area, and that there are mansions and there are little places like this. And I really wouldn't have picked that up if I was just looking at pictures. So, you know, that's something else that's really exciting about using this footage and figuring out what is, you know, behind these areas and the stories behind these builds. But, I mean, that is pretty much it for this, guys. I mean, like I said, it's not a big episode. It's just a little clip just to test if it works, and it works. And I'm really damn excited about it. And I hope you are too. Leave a comment in the comment section below if you are. I definitely would love your opinion. But yeah, stay tuned for lots more. There's going to be plenty more from my new series. I've already done lots of recording on that. And I'll try and squeeze it into Springwood as much as possible. But yeah guys, thanks for tuning in, much appreciated, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. See you later.